discipline would be, but are we going to see him play Monday night for all the game, part of the game? Can you share that?
Bobby will play. But again, we handle. I talk to Bobby. We handle that internally. He's mentioned it. I've mentioned it. We kind of put it behind us. He's out of practice yesterday, doing a good job, doing the things Bobby always does. A lot of respect for him as a player, as a person. So that's all behind us. We kind of talked about that a few days ago.
Sorry. I know the clock obviously ticking on NKMDG and Tank. I know you talked about them last week. Can you say with certainty that both will play this year if you reach that point where you know that for sure?
No, it's hard to say anything is with certainty with the way things change in this league. Anything can happen. Go out to practice today. So with certainty, I can't say that, but both guys are really working hard. Both guys are in good shape. Both guys have improved from last week to this week, I would say, and kind of getting back in the swing of things from a football standpoint, from a practice standpoint, getting more familiar with their teammates, with the communication, with their fundamentals. I think that's the one thing for a guy coming, or two guys in this case, coming back off of a long layoff. Getting back into the footwork, hand placement, the bare bones technique from a football standpoint. I mean, they both need a lot of work there. I think a lot of people think, there's just this thought that you can just jump out there and play football, and there's a lot that goes into it. So, from a practice standpoint, from a hand placement, footwork, communication, assignment standpoint, there's a little bit of a breaking in phase. So they're both in that right now, and I do think they're both doing a good job.
Are they in playing shape? You said they're in shape, but are they in football shape?
Well, there's a few tiers to that. So they're in good shape. Are they in true football shape? Can play 60 plays? That takes a little bit longer. So the intensity, and you can never really simulate the intensity of a game in practice. You do everything you can possible, but to go out there and play, specifically this week on a Monday night when emotions will be high, and the atmosphere, and there's a lot of other things that go into from a conditioning standpoint, nerves, anxiety, that all those things play a part. So are they in football shape? Yeah, I think they're in good football shape. Are they in actual playing condition? I think you got to play to get into that condition.
How much, if they were to be active, how much could they help you considering your depth issues at cornerback and defensive tackle?
I think anytime you get a new player, or I would say in this case someone, hypothetically speaking, they come off of a PUP, it's a small role. And I think you want to build toward over the course of a few games to get to a point where they can play, a substantial amount of snaps. So for either guy, it'd be a small role, I would say. Again, they're both still on, we haven't activated either guy, and that's still something as a staff we're going through, whether or not we would want to do that. So, but, in the case that they were active, I would say the first time out, small role. So maybe a little bit of something in the kicking game, maybe something, 10, 12 snaps defensively at the most, But again, things happen in games. Guys go down. When we had a player, guys go down. So you never know. And if we need them for more than that, then we would do it. But that would not be the plan.
Coach, will a player like Devontae Parker, whose confidence is kind of rising last couple of weeks with the touchdown locations that he's had, how much does that make you guys have more confidence in him and want to continue to use him in the back?
Yeah, I mean, anytime a guy has production in games on a consistent basis, you want to keep going to that particular player. I think we've gotten that from a few guys. Devontae comes to mind. Preston comes to mind. Mark Walton comes to mind. Mike Gesicki comes to mind as guys who are starting to come on a little bit. So I think, when guys have production in games, you want to get them the ball a little bit more. But at the same time, you see that not just in the games. That happens in practice, and it carry over to the game more times than not. And I would say that's been the case with the guys I just mentioned. So Devontae's part of that. I think he's really kind of come on for us these last few weeks, and hopefully continues to play at a good clip.
Devontae's a player. He's admitted in the past there have been times where he has lost confidence in himself. himself and his ability. Is the mental aspect of it something that you have to worry about with players, or is it a case?
Oh yeah, I think, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think, the mental, emotional, psychological, that's a big part of the game, in my opinion. It's something, I've always, that part of the game is always, it's very important. I think it's something that in a lot of ways you have to coach. I don't see any confidence issue with Devontae. I think he's as confident in his ability as anyone on this team. I think he's playing that way right now. If those were issues, before, I can't speak to them, but I see a confident player, and hopefully he continues that route. And Carl's doing a great job with him, as well as Chad and the offensive staff. So hopefully we just continue on that trajectory.
Brian, when the roster housekeeping thing, of course you can bring back players from IR. You have 6 of them. Do you have confidence that there will be 2 healthy enough to be able to exercise that return off IR? And Van Ginkel's the one guy who can practice now. Is he able to?
Yes, I have confidence that we'll get a couple guys off of that list. Which guys those will be, we'll find that out over the coming weeks.
And Van Ginkel do anything that I know he can legally practice now. Is he able to physically yet?
He's doing everything possible to get back. I mean, this is a hardworking kid, not quite there yet, or else he'd be out there. But working his way back. So we'll see how this thing kind of shakes. But he's done a really good job, I would say, working his way back and kind of going through the rehab and that process. And he's in there every morning, and he's still in meetings, asking good questions about our opponents. And these are things that that process of playing in the game, he's still going through, which I appreciate that.
I wanted to ask you about Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know he's a 14-year veteran and he's seen just about every defense, but how much of a stabilizing presence has he been for your offense?
I would say he's been stabilizing is a good word. I'd say he's definitely been that, just from really across the board, receivers, backs, offensive line. He has a presence about himself that and a poise that brings the group together. And it's something we need right now. And I think he's brought that to the group. Again, he's a veteran. He's got, just kind of natural leadership and rapport with players. And those are some of the intangibles that go a long way at that position. So we need that, and he's done a good job from that perspective.
Obviously you've been around guys long enough. When you see a player, do you look at him and say, hey, that guy could make a good coach? And do you see that in Fitz?
Well, I think he's got a lot of playing left. So, I think you see that in some players. I think the guys who are smart and ask the questions that as a coach you want asked. What do they do? What do we do if it's empty? What do they do if they blitz us? Where do I throw the ball if it's cover 5? Where do I throw the ball if it's zone blitz? Those, once you get a guy who's asking those types of questions, those are the questions that I used to ask, and I think anyone who coaches, if they play this, those are the questions they ask. So from that standpoint, we've got a few guys who are smart players who understand the game, and if they want to get into coaching, which I think might be, a lot of people would call it crazy, but then they would have an opportunity to. But I love coaching. Maybe I'm crazy. I've been called that before too. So.
Any other you can mention by name?
Players who are smart and love the game, and we've got any of those guys in there. I can name 10 off the top of my head who, if they wanted to. A lot of guys don't want to, be in here all day and night, watching film and,
They say they don't, then they stay away from the game for 2 years.
That, a lot of times that happens too. And then, look, everyone's got to make decisions. And right now, this team is every guy in there. I'm expecting them to play, not coach. So, but we got a lot of smart guys in there. So,
where is Guava in his development?
Again, another good young player. is getting a lot of reps, getting a lot of live action that's served him well. He's played well in some instances, and I'm sure there's some plays that he wish he could have played a little bit better. But I mean, there's a kid who comes in here every day and listens, works to get better, is understanding how we want to play and defensively, along with what offenses are doing, what's happening in the kicking game. And I think every week he gets a little bit better. So again, young player, fast. Football's important to him. He's tough. Again, he's a good young player. We just keep developing him, getting him better. Sorry, Cam. Yep.
How would you evaluate how Albert Wilson's season is going, how close he is maybe to being the player he was?
Yeah. Well, he had coming off of the injury, came back, had a little setback early in the year, and is still kind of working his way back. I think you see just steady improvement week to week, getting back into playing shape, playing condition, making some plays in practice, made a play last week in the game. So I think he's moving in the right direction. I think we know what kind of player Albert has been in the past. Fast, explosive, playmaking ability. So again, this just isn't, I would say, a lot of people think you could just jump back in there and be the player you were. It takes a little bit of time, and I think Albert's working his way back. Yeah.
Coaches, in all sports, basketball, hockey, whatever, there's a theme of a player going back to play his former team for the first time and having a big game. Do you think that's real in football, and can you guard against something like that?
I mean, it's real if people want to make it real. To me, it's it's going to be the Miami Dolphins against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, in football, it's a little bit different. There's 11 guys out there, so to make it a 1-on-1 or a 1-on-11, I mean, I guess it's just that's a hard thing for me to kind of digest and.
Have you ever seen a moment like that where maybe a player noticing him for the first time, they had him for a while, and he had a good game either way?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's 11 guys on 11 guys, and it can never be a 1-on-1 matchup in football. You know what I mean? I guess it can, defensive end versus offensive tackle, but at the end of the day, it's, one team against another team. So I don't see that dynamic. I think, if you play against a former team, I could see there just being added a wanting to play well. But I think everybody wants to play well every week, regardless of the team. So, and I think that's the case for our players on other teams. So, I just don't see that dynamic. Me personally, it's not something I even think about, quite honestly.
Barry, housekeeping question. Where's Xavier Howard and Avery Moss on their road back?
Both, practiced yesterday, so working their way back. I think we got a shot with both guys. So we'll just keep working them. We'll see how it goes. We got the extra day, so that always helps. We got the extra day and the night, so that helps. So we'll see where we go. I mean, we'll be close with both players. I think both guys want to go, and if you ask them, they're playing. So we'll see how this goes. Thank you, guys.